Five Nights at Freddy's is one of those pieces of media I was super into as a small little child. It was basically FNAF, Transformers, TF2, and Legos. That was my life for a while. So even 8 years after the movie got announced in FNAF's prime, I was still excited to see the FNAF movie, which turned out to be rather good, if you're already an existing fan of the franchise. Oh, and you're kept up with all the lore from the games. And the books too. To enjoy this movie as a person who is not super into the franchise to begin with, it comes across kinda hard to watch, because the film's narrative and plot is just yoinked straight from the games and books, which I mean, it makes sense in doing that, any other way would just be very strange. But the plot gets really convoluted at some points. I could tell my friends sitting next to me in the theater were just starting to get lost in that Freddy Fazbear sauce. So it's no surprise when the critics gave this movie less than amazing ratings. But why did I enjoy this movie? Let me tell you. To start, I want to say this movie is visually stunning. They could not have made Freddy and the gang look any better on the big screen. Every time they moved, I felt it in my very own endoskeleton. They look big and overall very scary. Like if I saw Foxy running down those halls at night, I'm quitting on the spot. Not to mention the pizzeria looks really good, with all the vibrant lights and Easter eggs everywhere. It's awesome as a fan of the series. Other than the movie looking good, the actors are great too. Josh Hutcherson, who plays Mike in the film, is great. He brings good emotion to his film, and he is good as a protagonist, which is really important. If your show, movie, or video game has an unlikable protagonist, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna be super into it. I really like all of the emotional scenes he has with his dream family, and also, I really liked how he just genuinely seemed to hate his life. It's not relatable, per se, but everyone goes through their own struggles, and that's why he's pretty good as a leading man. Vanessa, played by Elizabeth Lail, is just alright to me. I think the character is she came across very bipolar sometimes. When she's not being a schizo, she is pretty normal. And she works well into the final act of the film in my opinion. Abby, played by Piper Rubio, is great. Mike's sister is just a very, very, very enjoyable character to watch on screen. And with all the success that the movie is getting, I really hope she gets more gigs in the future. I did make a bit of a observation though about the character of Abby. She comes off kind of neurodivergent, which I don't mind at all. I just gotta wonder if that was done on purpose or not, because if it was done on purpose, they did it very, very well in my opinion. Lastly, let's talk about Afton, played by one of my favorite actors ever, Matthew Lillard. Me and Matt go way back to the first Scream film. That was the first movie I ever saw him in. And I have to say, for the very little amount of time he is in this film, he slams every scene he's in. The Springlock scene in particular is very good. I generally really like him, and I hope that there are more movies in the future so we can see him as Springtrap a bit more, because man, he's barely in this film, but when he is, he steals the show. So overall, I really could have not have asked for a better actor to take up the role of Purple Guy. So yeah, that's what I liked about the film. What I didn't was some story beats. For example, how does Abby know about the kids being killed by Afton, and why can't she see them? And also, how come Vanessa wants Abby to hang out with Freddy and the gang, but then tells Mike she will literally shoot him dead if she brings her back there to the restaurant? It's inconsistencies in tone and characters and random things that need further explanation, which brings down the movie a bit for me. My cope is that there's probably a bunch of cut scenes explaining these things that were cut for time, or they will get touched on in a second film. Hopefully. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the funny Freddy Fazbear movie. I gotta get back to my job as the new security guard at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. You guys have a good night, and a happy Halloween.